Hey, welcome back, you all. Coach Paul Malo from 1 Degree Coaching. Thank you very much for coming in and watching this series of videos that we have. Very grateful and blessed. I always do a little recap on certain series. Step 1 in my process, clarity. Know what the hell you want, right? It should excite and scare you at the same time. Mental GPS, always. Number 2, become aware. What does that mean? Become aware of your thoughts, your emotions, your little voices in your head. Step 3 was identify paralyzing paradigms. What we had shared is a paradigm is a set of beliefs that define your current reality, and it's really going to be developed from past experiences. Remember where they're highlighted. Generationally, from our parents and grandparents, what we were told or what we saw as we grew up. It's going to be around your environment, like where you were raised, the geographic or demographic area. Third one is your social paradigms and who you're spending time with, either as a child or even now today as adults, because they're going to have a subconscious impact on your belief system. And the fourth one is media paradigms, like what you see, listen to on the TV, the media, the news, your phone, social media. It's literally all programming. The thing that I love to really just drive home is think for yourself. Just think for yourself. Get the hell out of the matrix. Think for yourself, okay? That's kind of like what I'm doing. You want the blue pill or the red pill? All right? I was like Morpheus in the Matrix. Which one you want? Red pill or blue pill? But make that decision. I want to share a personal story. I'm very blessed. Right now when I'm shooting this video, I have a beautiful 20-year-old daughter, Kiana, and my son, Pierce, is 18 years old. I'm so grateful that God has blessed me with our 2 children. And I will honestly tell you, over 20 years ago, as I'm filming this, my wife Gina and I will be married 26 years as I'm filming this video today. Not today or as an anniversary, but 26 years. We got married in the year 2000. And I will totally be transparent. I didn't want to be a parent. That's just it. I didn't want to be a parent. And here's my wife. Let's have kids. She knew the clarity goal, and I'm like, no, I don't want kids. I mean, that's a disconnect. She should have investigated more before we took that leap of faith. But I'm going to be honest. There was a point I just didn't want to have kids. And as I started learning about mindset, about conscious mind, subconscious mind, to be honest, I owe it to Tony Robbins. Gina and I, when we first got engaged and married, we've done a ton of personal development. We're still to this day, but Tony Robbins was one of the biggest influences in my life, still is today. Besides God and my wife, I owe him my kids. Like, I owe it to him. Like, he then unleashed the power within. UPW literally created my paradigm breakthrough. So going back is Gina wants to have kids. I'm like, I don't want to have kids. And as I started, remember, step 2 is to become aware. And then step 3 is identify paralyzing paradigms. I started taking inventory of how I was thinking. Generationally, environment, socially, media. As I started really becoming aware of how I was thinking and why I was thinking this, and really psychoanalyzing myself, here's a couple of the things that I'm going to share with you all, right, on how this impacted my life. I love my parents. They are literally the best parents in the whole universe. I would model everything from a parent perspective from them. I wish I could level up to their expectations because I think they're that amazing. But I'm one of 5. I saw my dad work so hard, union work electrician. My mom had a harder job raising 5 kids at home. I don't know how they financially did it, but they made it work. My mom says that she doesn't say this, but I always heard this in my world, my story. If it wasn't for you kids, right? And what does that mean? It's like, if it wasn't for you kids, we'd have more money. If it wasn't for you kids, I'm like, I got to like my son's age. I'm like, Mom, I didn't choose to have 5 kids. You chose to have 5 kids, right? That's your choice, your life, your definition of success. But I mean, I had this association that having kids would equal to kind of being poor and struggling financially. I mean, that's just the truth, And I love my parents, and they had me at 22. I think they had 5 kids before they were 30. I mean, they were in the mix. And then, back then, I don't think they really spent a lot of time dating, and so I've seen clients of mine and everyone, they've just become roommates, right? over time. It's just comfortable. The intimacy's gone, the passion's gone. And then I kind of had this perception is, all right, having kids will equal poor. Having kids will equal not financially wealthy. Having kids will equal losing an intimate marriage, a disconnect in passion because the kids are taking up all the time and energy. Some people would ask Gina and I when we first got married, because we waited over 5 years to have kids. They would go, oh, are you newlyweds? We're like, no, we've been married for like 5-6 years. Yeah, that's gonna change when you have kids. You'll never have time to work out. They'll be like, oh wow, your house is really nice and neat and organized. I'm like, yeah, we take pride in our home. We want to keep, we like structure and discipline. Yeah, your house can be a mess when you have kids. Now, I may pause there for a minute, even though Gene and I, we are really meticulous, but our some peers currently, while I'm watching this video, he's kind of a slob. That's why he's going to the Citadel here in Charleston Military School, straighten his ass out to get really clean and disciplined. So come back and ask me that in a couple of years. But people would ask us about our fitness, ask us about our marriage, about neatness. And then I own a chain of martial arts schools. And I like to think I was a really good teacher with kids, and parents would be like, wow, Grandmaster Malo, that's what they called me in the martial art industry. And they go, you're really good with kids. And they go, just wait till you have your own. Man. You know, and so over time, I picked up these beliefs. Having children will equal not a good marriage, it will equal not being fit. I also owned a business. Now, I love my dad, but my dad, he had this belief, you know, he chose the union working route opposed to taking a risk to open up a business because he believed that if he had his own business, he wouldn't be around for his kids. Like, that was his belief. That was his story. I had a different belief. I'm an entrepreneur. You know, I wanted to create a business so I could be around and have freedom. I had this belief having kids would hold me back from achieving success in all areas of my life. Dude, that was my paralyzing paradigms. It had to do with not having time to work out because we blame the kids, not having an intimate marriage because the kids are taking up all the time, you can't date, having a messy home. It was a trade-off. I'm gonna have a successful business, I won't be around for my kids, or I could play it safe and have a comfortable job and be around for my kids. So this was the struggle, and this was my paralyzing paradigm. Having children would hold me back from achieving success in all areas of my life. This example is based on family, right? What was the goal? Become a parent. And what did that trigger in me? Fear, doubt, uncertainty, and it was not good. And that was holding me back from actually taking the leap of faith of becoming a parent. And I really became aware about this in an Anthony Robbins seminar. And I was literally writing all this down and had this breakthrough. And so when I'm coaching people, most people will hire me because they want to enhance production and business and career. But I make sure as a coach that I just let people know, hey, if you hire me just to develop higher production, more income around your business, don't hire me. I mean, that is going to happen, I promise you. But I also have to make sure that these other areas of my clients' lives are in order. I make sure that their family life's in order, their fitness is in order, their spiritual connections in order, their intimate, because it's all connected. If you watch any of the videos I talk about the 5 Ds, the last D is called driving force. And most of my examples, when I coach high performers, the driving force beyond ego, because they all have ego on the surface, me too. But when I unlayer all that, the driving force is going to be driven around their family, legacy, and their connection to God, right? So I have to make sure that we clear out any negative charges or paralyzing paradigms in their fitness, in their family, maybe with their intimate relationships. And when that's in order, watch their production increase. I guarantee it. And that's why I kept the 5th D driving force, right? Because you get all this shit cleared out, I will kind of tell you that when I created a paradigm shift, and that's the next step, right? So clarity is number 1, awareness number 2, identify paralyzing paradigms, which we're doing right now. But the next step, and I will tease you on it, is create a paradigm shift. But the only way you create a shift is seeing where these paralyzing paradigms came from and identifying where they come from and having a self-reflection. And I hear a lot of client examples, and I'm gonna share some with you that I see from clients that I hear, and it's the patterns of behavior. I mean, I have over 1,800 conversations with mostly financial advisors, entrepreneurs, and business professionals every year. right? Times that 1800 by 15 years, 20 years. I mean, I heard it all. But here are some common paralyzing paradigms that hold most clients I coach back. I get overwhelmed and feel like I don't have enough time. Sound familiar? I'm not good enough. I don't have enough people to see. I need the sale. I need the club credit. I'm afraid people won't like me. Then I might hear, I'm too young. I'm too old. I'm out of shape. I'll never be able to get back to that level ever again. I used to be fit. I used to be an athlete. I'm not financially stable. I'm not financially capable of working with that high-level network client because they're more successful than I. I'm really not that loving of a family member. I'm not smart enough. Sound familiar? Right? I'm just reading out some ones that I hear over and over again. I'm too busy to work out. I own a business and I'm constantly stressed. I'm too young to make $100K a month. I'm still young and don't need to get married. I'm not old enough to work with that level client or prospect. I'm too young to be someone making $1 million, $2 million a year. These are all examples of things that I've heard over and over and over again. So let me ask you this. What are your paralyzing paradigms? What I'd like you to do is identify a paralyzing paradigm professionally. What is the voice telling you? What's the story that you're saying? It's almost like a statement. Maybe what's something around your family life, maybe around your fitness. Maybe you have a paralyzing paradigm that you can't have one without the other. I call it the have your cake and eat it too metaphor. I mean, who told you that? If anyone ever heard me say this, I'm like, people are like, what do you want, your cake and eat it too? I'm like, hell yeah. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard. Why would I have cake if I can't eat it? Not that I eat cake, I'm just saying, I'm gonna have my cake, I'm gonna eat that, I'm gonna have a double espresso with a shot of Sambuca, I want it all, okay? Who told you that you can't have it all? Like sometimes I love my old man, I'm like, Pop, who told you can't have a business and be around as a dad? You know, I had a business, I was at every lacrosse game, every theater performance, still am. I created the freedom. That's my whole brand. Being fit, having an amazing marriage, doing things that I love to make lots of money, make an impact, be connected to God, be an amazing parent, and doing good stuff in the world. Who the hell told you you can't have it all? I want to know. It's being done. It's being done. I'm telling you, you got to identify your paralyzing paradigms and see what the hell's holding you back like it did for me. I was paralyzed for years until I had my paradigm shift and my breakthrough. You know what? Maybe the one thing that you're fearful of and you have the breakthrough when you get to the other side is the biggest gift of your life. Like mine, having children is the driving force for my wife and I to achieve all our goals and our dreams in our lives. Everything I do is driven for my kids. Everything. What was my crutch literally became my fucking driving force. It did. I do everything around my faith, my fitness, my marriage, my businesses, my legacy is to prove to my kids that if your mom and dad can do it, you can do it even better. What's holding you back? Remember what I said, you're worth it, your family's worth it, and your legacy's worth it. Be better every day.